I was on my 17th attempt against a boss in Nioh 2 when I proclaimed that this would be my last attempt after being stuck on it for over an hour. My dodges were perfect, I could read my opponent's move with ease. I felt unbeatable. However, it wouldn't be until my 20th attempt that I actually beat the massive creature. Still, I can't tell you how empowered I felt after claiming a victory. This series of events is what happens during each considerable enemy encounter in Nioh 2. To say that the game is challenging is an understatement. This game loves to make you feel safe and powerful and then throw something new at you that will test and frustrate you until you've mastered it. One thing is undeniable, this entire experience accumulated to one of the best gaming experiences that I've had to date. Nioh 2's narrative is something that the players will want to explore. You assume the role of a half-human, half-yokai, which makes you not very well liked by those who make it their goal to hunt yokai. You find yourself traveling with a merchant in the middle of a war. While you don't really play sides throughout the story, you do end up seeing the battle on both ends. Each character plays a role in the narrative and affects the overarching story. The entire game takes place over several years, which creates an interesting passage of time in the game's world and characters. It makes sense that the elements within the world are changing because a few years have passed. Still, the story does a great job of keeping the player up to date on the state of the world and the role that you play in it. Nioh 2 doesn't have an open world. Instead, players will select missions both main and side. Each mission takes players to a level where they can freely explore as they make their way to the mission's goal. It's incredibly straightforward for such a complex game, but some missions show the passage of time on the battlefield, so returning to a town that was once in good condition could now be on fire the next time you visit. This makes each mission unique even if you're returning to the same general area multiple times. Most of the time, missions have you fight against a powerful yokai. Side missions end with a weaker boss battle, while main missions put you up against some rather powerful foes. An issue I encountered was being able to read the map accurately. Sometimes I would have much rather wandered aimlessly than follow whatever circle with dots was on the HUD. I'm sure most of you will want to know what the gameplay is like, and Nioh 2 has a knack for rewarding many types of gameplay styles within this genre. For patient players, turning corners slowly and guiding enemies one by one to an open area to fight can be quickly done. On the other hand, those who rush into the battle can easily take out a room full of enemies if they are skilled enough to do so. It's as if the developers gave the players the tools to do something, and what they do with those tools is up to them. In battle, players will need to take notice of their HP, Kai, and Anima. However, players will also need to understand how to counter, break enemy guard, use the yokai souls effectively, and adequately demon counter. All this while making sure they are holding their weapon in a way that is working for them. The tools provided to the player are also found in the game's menus. Players can pretty much customize each aspect of the experience to fit their playstyle. Using a weapon earns you familiarity with it, as well as provides you with the skill points to improve the combos with the particular weapon type. Each weapon controls differently and has its pros and cons. Moreover, weapons can be created and improved at the blacksmith, but most of the time, I was too attached to my weapon to do anything to mess it up. Players are always able to level up using the souls they've collected from fallen enemies. Areas of a character that can be adjusted are constitution, heart, courage, stamina, strength, skill, dexterity, and magic. Leveling up specific stats was strange for me at first since it appeared to scale the difficulty and make early game encounters more relaxed than late game fights. However, over time I found the pattern with the upgrades and thought that they scaled the game's difficulty quite well. If that's not enough, players can earn titles through gameplay, which can then be used to upgrade the character stats even further. Nioh 2 is a gorgeous looking game and takes its enemies and character design seriously. Those who wish to explore each stage will be treated to some demanding battles and powerful loot. The enemies in this game can be relentless, but it's still a video game that allows you to cheese through some fights. Enemy attack patterns can be learned and mastered, which makes an enemy who killed you multiple times at the beginning of the game become one that you take out like nothing in later parts. It's this sense of improvement that Nioh 2 uses to keep you hooked, even though it'll kick your ass at any given moment. One complaint that I have would be navigating the menus in the game. There's just so many here and no real incentive to do it much. Players who dive deep into the menus and utilize all the feature will get the most here, but the intricate design had me avoiding them if it wasn't necessary. Nioh 2 shows how much the developers have mastered this genre of brutally difficult games. They have created what is already one of the best releases of 2020 with their dedication to refined combat mechanics and storytelling. Every moment of gameplay is thrilling, with the dread of impending doom lurking around every corner. Did I get frustrated? You bet your ass I did. And yet, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It might not have been the first or second time against an enemy that I won, but as my knowledge of the game improved, so did my skills of survival. After the game ended, no part of me wanted to put the controller down, so like many during my time with the game, I will lend my aid to the online portion here to help those in need. Noisy Pixel is giving Nioh 2 a 9.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.